Now, we're out and we're shooting landscapes today. It's gonna be kind of noisy. Right now there's kind of a break in the cars, but they're gonna come by, come and go. And hopefully it won't drown me out. But I told you that we're gonna be shooting some landscapes today. And as we're shooting these landscapes, we're looking for 4 different things. Number 1 is we need to have some sort of subject in there. A subject that, that makes the picture worth looking at. Now you can just do a landscape and your subject is a landscape, and that's okay. But sometimes you want to throw a little subject in there, something of interest to add to that landscape. That's number 1. Number 2, we're looking for some sort of dynamic lighting, some sort of dynamic skies, something. And today, because it's cloudy and overcast, we have that, which is going to be awesome. Number 3 was we need to make sure that we have a foreground in there. Did I say foreground? I'm not sure if I did. We're going to have a foreground in there. That adds a little depth and dimension to it. And that can be your subject, or that could be weeds or something like that. So that's what we're going to be shooting today. And then the last thing that we're going to do is make sure that you're following your elements of composition. That you're using rule of thirds or leading lines, or let that guy go by first. Or whatever it is that we're doing. Just make sure that you have your elements of composition in there. Now, I knew this was going to be noisy, and it's probably just going to get worse as we go on in the day. So let me show you what we're here today. Man, can't even talk. Here's what we're doing right now. You might recognize this point. Let me turn around so you can see it. We're going to use this as our foreground, or as our subject. And so what we have to But what was interesting is I came here and I thought, let's do some landscape and let's pull this thing up, and then we'll have a foreground. Here's a subject, and while after being here for a little bit, I realized that there's much more to this than to shoot than a landscape with something just up front. This is a story of an officer who lost his life while on duty, and I don't want to be disrespectful now by just having it just be something in the foreground. So it's something of interest, but we can go on and do landscape photography elsewhere. But this was quite something to think about those people who put their lives on the line for us to keep us safe. I wouldn't want to focus on the bad, but focus on the good. We've got good people all around us, people who are willing to help and people who are willing to lay their lives down to protect us. Okay, we're out here today. We're going to be doing some landscape photography, and then we're just going to choose some different sites. So I found this. I thought this was kind of interesting. So there's 4 things that if you remember from our lesson, there are 4 things that you're going to look at and you're going to make sure that you've got. It's number 1, you've got a good subject, a subject worth looking at. Number 2, you've got some sort of dynamic lighting. Number 3, that you have a foreground in there. Then number 4, that you're following your elements of composition. Okay, so we're going to walk around this and kind of take a look and see what we can do. Now, obviously, the subject, well, not obviously, but we're doing landscapes in this assignment, and so we're going to be looking for landscapes, but we're going to put a subject in front of it and see what we can do. Now, we've got some beautiful skies around us. We've got some beautiful scenery around us. Let me zoom in a little bit more. Some beautiful scenery around us, and so we're going to be able to do and get those 4 things today. Let's walk around and see what we can come up with. Okay, so we have the shot kind of framed up, and I think we might end up changing it a little bit, but we're looking, do we have those 4 things that we talked about in class? Do we have an interesting subject? Yeah, I think this foreground is kind of interesting in itself, and it kind of helps paint the picture of what it is. Number two, do we have dynamic lighting? We do with the snow coming down up there on the mountain. It kind of dynamic lighting. Now to the south, we've got some better lighting, some more dynamic skies, and so we might switch in just a second. Let's see, that was number two. Number three is, are we obeying number three is foreground. Do we have a foreground? Yes, we have a foreground. And then number four, do we have some good elements of composition? And so this could be our shot right here. I'm gonna walk around and see if there's another shot that will involve a little bit different, but I'm gonna shoot a couple here because I do like it. Okay, so let's look at that. I kind of like that lighting a little bit better. A lot of the same thing. We still have leading lines. We have an interesting foreground, which is our subject, but the foreground is going to add depth to it, and we're following some elements of composition. We have some leading lines there. I like that one better, and so I think I'm going to shoot a couple of that. Okay, now let me move around and let's see what else we can find. Okay, I like this one too, because we still have leading lines and an interesting foreground, and adds depth and dimension to it. And yeah, I like this. Let me try some different exposures on that. Shoot a couple pictures. Okay, I like this for the sky a little bit better, but I like having it a little bit brighter. So okay, let's look around, let's walk around, let's see what else we can find. Okay, I like this one too. It seems like there's so many different places and different things to shoot that have got this. Those clouds down there though, and just the lighting, just gorgeous. We've got some rusted metal right up front, giving a little bit of depth to the whole thing. Yeah, let me shoot a couple of that, and then we'll go on. Okay, now I'm not loving this composition. I'm loving the skies, I'm loving that, and I like the colors of this. I'm not loving the composition of this. And so I'm gonna see if there's a way for me to include this rusty tank in there by being up close to it and getting a good composition. So I'm gonna keep looking around and see what else I can find with this, see what else I can frame up with it. Okay, I think I might have found a little better composition for it by turning it vertical. It's interesting. It's not a prize winning, but it's interesting. I'm going to shoot a picture of that. Okay, let's keep looking. What else? Okay, again, sideways like this. I love getting this foreground in there. I'm going to tighten that down. Now, problem is we have a leading line that leads right off the frame. And so let's readjust. There's nothing I can do to get rid of that thing. And so maybe cropping it out or something, but I can't just like pick it up and move it. So let's keep looking. But I do like this. I like this with the foreground. I like this. We have an interesting subject and we have some dynamic skies. Just not loving the leading line that leads you off into the space and right off of the frame. Okay, now we're back to shooting horizontally. I'm going to zoom in just a bit. You know, I like that composition right there. Maybe wait until the cars are out of shot. Maybe, you know, I like that composition much better. We have a foreground, we have a subject, we've got elements of composition, we have dynamic lighting. Shoot a couple more. You'll notice that a lot of these are coming out a lot the same. Let me just readjust that a little bit. Here we kind of have a divided interest, which is not awesome. We've got interest on the left-hand side, we've got interest on the right-hand side, but it's still kind of a good shot, but we have divided interest. But a lot of these are coming out the same because we're shooting the same thing, but if you notice, they keep changing as we change our composition, as we just walk around trying to find something a little better, something a little bit different. There's times that I've shot and I thought, okay, I got what I got and I'm good. And as I'm walking away, I'm like, oh, look at that one. There's a good shot. And then that's my favorite one of the whole day, is the one I shot at the very end, or one that I shot, you know, not really expecting it. So I'm going to walk around a little bit more and then we're going to go on to the next location. Okay. let's keep looking. I know there's more. Let's go shoot some more landscapes. Okay, here's another one. Let's frame this thing up. But I like that. I like the leaning lines. I like the... Okay, I think we got one here too. Let me shoot a couple pictures of that. This is, by the way, this is down the road a bit. Okay. Thought I'd try the same thing with just a little bit lower. That takes out some of our leading lines, because you get it a little taller, you can see those leading lines that lead you through it. So maybe taller is better. You guys tell me. Okay, I found something else I want to shoot. I was driving and I saw some of this stuff. So let's go get through this barbed wire and let's go out there. Looks like there's an old piece of farm equipment out there. Let's go see what we can do with that one. But even look at this. This is beautiful landscape right here. Okay, well, I like this composition. Let's see, maybe even a little further in. And put that mountain on the third line. Okay, I like that one. Line my horizon up. Shoot a couple of those. Let's talk about a couple of things that attracted me to this. Number one, okay, this machinery is pretty cool. But the fact that these had, it wasn't just metal wheels, but the fact that they had the paddles on them, pretty cool. Now, I have no idea how old this is. I'm not an expert in these things, but it's pretty cool. I think I'm going to shoot some of just this. Oh my, and I'm, you know how I tell you to turn around and look behind us? There's snow and there's mountains. There's snow on those mountains and the snow coming down. We're going to get some of that. Okay. Make sure that my horizon's level. And we'll shoot a couple. You know, I might even want to see if I can get down closer to that, to the paddles. Okay, this is actually pretty good too, I think. Well, you know what? Everybody thinks that their photos are awesome, but this is fun. Let me just rephrase that. Might not be perfect, but this is a lot of fun. Shoot a couple pictures. Now let me show you a couple things that I did do with composition. Is I moved things around, got things on the third line, stuff like that, leveled things up. But look at this. This is okay, but by lifting that up a little bit, I want enough of that in there, but I want to leave a little bit of room between that and above it. Shoot a couple pictures of that. So I'm talking about right in this area right there. I want to leave a little bit of room, because if not, what happens is it kind of blends in. It goes through there, it breaks the borders of it. Okay, and this is, I like this, but I happen to like that one a little bit better, just where there's some separation. And let me bring that up so that doesn't lead off. Okay, well, I shot that, looked around it, went around. There it is back behind me. There were a couple other shots, but nothing really spectacular. My favorite one was that one that I first framed up. That was one of the best ones of them. Now we're going to keep going, see what else there is out there to see. I don't want this, actually, you know what? I don't want to make this video too long, because you guys have other things to do. You have other classes to take care of. But I'm going to get back, get it edited up, and get it out so you guys can start working on your landscaping stuff. Hey guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Oh, sometimes it sucks being a big fat man. I don't fit through things as easily as I once did. Ouch. You pull that down. Had not taken my coat off, I would have put a couple holes in that thing.